90% of resellers will fail this year. If you want to be in the top 10%, you must do these 7 habits. No excuses. I went from $0 to $10,000 reselling fridges. And in this video, I will show you exactly how. Make sure to stick around to the last habit, because this is what separates the people who will make it as resellers and those who won't. So let's jump straight into habit number 1, the 80-20 rule. The Pareto principle, also known as the 80-20 rule, states that 80% of outcomes come from only 20% of causes. This principle is often used in business to measure what actions are leading to the most success. And the reason why this is so important in reselling is that most beginner resellers don't know about this principle. They focus too much on the 80%, completely dismissing the 20% that actually drive sales. For example, when I first started out, I was going through thrift stores and through garage sales and spending so much time going through the little nits and grits, trying to find flips that cost $2 and will earn me $20. And of course, it sounds like a lot of money. I made 10x the money on a $2 to $10 to $20 flip, right? But it's wrong, because if you calculate it in your head, I spent 2 hours sourcing this item that cost me $2. But then I sold it for $18 of profit in 2 hours, which means I got an average profit of $9 per hour. Is that right? Yes, $9 per hour. So I earned $9 per hour with this sell. Congratulations to myself. I just earned less than a minimum wage worker. While it's natural to waste your time in the beginning, eventually you want to stop wasting your time and focus on the actions that actually drive results. A master reseller would base their future flips on their past flips. And looking at the table right now, you can obviously tell that flip B and flip D are phenomenal flips, and you should be doubling down on those flips. However, if you look at A, C, and E, you can tell those are terrible flips and should be completely ignored. To become a true master reseller, you have to adjust your flipping techniques all the time. Adjust the items that you're selling to double down onto the items that actually generate money. Habit number 2, building a flipping routine. The absolute minimum that you need to become a master reseller is also the most basic requirement. And that requirement is to have a flipping routine. It comes down to consistency, discipline, and having a set routine to rely on. Because what does it mean to be a reseller? As a reseller, you don't have a steady paycheck. You only get paid when you sell something, right? And the best way to guarantee that your paycheck is as stable as it can be is to have a certain rhythm where you buy and sell items. For example, what I would recommend you do is to block out certain chunks of your day. Let's say you have a couple hours in the morning and throughout the day where you're messaging people. You're trying to buy items, right? Or you have a few hours in a day that you spend with preparing items for sale, including the cleaning process, of course, making sure that everything's working, and listing the items. Once you have a routine, it's only a matter of adjusting it to fit your lifestyle, your goals, and ultimately your flipping journey. However, to become a master reseller, having a routine is just the beginning. There's more habits that are even more important than just having a routine. Habit number 3, ask, ask, and ask again. This one is about rejection. And let's face it, you have to become comfortable with rejection. The reason is so simple, because as a reseller, you will get so many rejections. The day of a master reseller includes sending hundreds of messages to potential sellers to figure out if they sell the item, if you can negotiate the price, and so on. And many messages that you send will be left on red. Some messages will receive replies, and even fewer messages will lead to a sale. Now the goal is for you to get comfortable with getting the no's, getting comfortable with getting rejected, getting comfortable with being left on red, because it will happen a lot. How do you get comfortable with rejection? Here's the big old secret that you have been waiting for. The secret to getting used to rejection is to get rejected a fuck ton of times. The more often you can get rejected, the better you will be at handling rejection. Habit number 4. Faster than flash. Fast resellers get rewarded. Slow resellers get nothing. Because reselling is a competitive game. The quicker you can be, the more likely it is that you get what you want. If you see a good deal on Facebook Marketplace or you get a message from a buyer, there's a few things that are happening. The seller of a product likely has multiple interested buyers. The buyer of a product likely reached out to multiple sellers. Therefore, your goal is to respond as quickly as you can to potential opportunities, be it a potential buyer or potential seller. To test this, I did a little experiment myself. I checked how likely it is that I get a response depending on how fast I respond myself. The times I checked were 5 minutes, 15 minutes, and 1 hour. And after checking all the times, the result was clear. Answering within 5 to 15 minutes led to the most positive outcomes. A successful seller responds quickly. Habit number 5, long-term vision. The biggest mistake that first-time sellers do is that they only focus on the short-term gain. They try their hardest to always get the upper hand in a transaction. They will try to negotiate penny pinch with an iron will to never lose a single penny. On the short term, it looks like they are winning, right? If you make $10 more in a transaction, it sounds like you're doing a good job. Wrong. Because this is short-sighted. Here are 3 reasons why this is the case. If you try to win every transaction, you are less likely to get a recommendation. You are less likely to get repeat customers, and you're less likely to get a positive rating. The other day, I sold a fridge for $50 less than the asking price. And on first glance, it sounds like I lost the transaction, right? I made $50 less than I could have. But listen to this. After I sold the fridge for cheaper, guess what happened? The buyer messaged me again, asking to buy a washing machine the very same day. If I would have tried to negotiate very, very hard, I might have lost the customer completely and missed out on 2 sales just like that. And over the time that I have been reselling, I made so many thousands of dollars just by not trying to get the upper hand in every transaction. Just by trying to think in a long-term vision. And honestly, the few $100s that I lost by losing the transaction are peanuts to the amount that I gained through thinking long-term. Therefore, I recommend to adapt a long-term vision and treat everybody that you meet as if you will deal with them in the future again. Habit number 6, value focus. Rookie sellers focus on extracting value from the marketplace. However, master resellers, they focus on adding value to the marketplace. See the difference? The goal of reselling is not to make the most money possible. The goal of reselling is to add as much value to the product and to the people that you're dealing with. And a master reseller, of course, adds value through different means. For example, you can clean the products, repair faults, offer delivery, do fast responses, and be fair in your negotiations. And focusing on value, focusing on adding value without extracting value, has a funny little side effect. If you do it right, you end up earning even more. So not only is it ethical, it's also very profitable to be value focused. Number 7, beginner mindset. To become the best, you have to be ready to be the worst. Mediocre resellers do this mistake all the time. They niche down way too early. And of course, you might be saying, hey, Marcus, you literally just said in the 80-20 rule that you should be focusing and doubling down on good products. And while this is true, it's not the whole picture. If you niche down too early on a few winning products and only do them, there's one issue. Because let's say you have 5 products and one of them is doing decent money. You double down on it. Hooray, you're starting to make money. The only issue is now that you might be missing out on products that could make even more. So what you want to be doing instead is to focus on a certain product, but also keep expanding your catalog. For example, I sell a lot of appliances, as you might know, but sometimes I do sell other items as well. For example, what happens every now and then is I go through auctions over Facebook Marketplace and I see a commercial coffee machine for sale. And if it's only a few $100s, I will usually go and buy it. Then I spend a couple of $100 extra, repair it, and then list it again and sell it again for at least $1,000. Now, if I would close myself off and only sell fridges and washing machines and the like, I would never have the experience of selling something like a coffee machine. I would have missed out on this fun and exciting opportunity just because I wouldn't have been ready to expand my horizons. So, therefore, here is my challenge to you. I want you to go and buy an item to resell this week. But not just any item. I want you to buy something that you would normally not even think of buying. Then you should buy it, right? You should research a little bit about it, and then you should list and sell the item. And see how it goes. You might be making a profit. You might be making a loss. And both of them is okay, because this is not about earning. This is about learning, about widening your horizon and having a beginner mindset. Because this is the difference between a reseller that's struggling and a master reseller that knows how to flip. No matter if you are a beginner reseller or you are already advanced, these 7 habits of a master reseller are completely non-negotiable for anybody who wants to flip items profitably. What do you think about these habits? Do you agree with them? Did I miss any of them? Make sure to let me know in the comments below. Additionally, if you're interested in becoming a master reseller yourself and taking your reselling skills to the next level, I would highly recommend you to subscribe to the channel. I keep posting stuff like that, and who knows, you might just learn something new. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.